for us at PageGroup and creating opportunities, for us globally, women actually make up 55% of our workforce. And in the UK, that's 52%. So we know we've never had any problem attracting women into the business. The real problem comes about making sure you get the representation at all levels. And I think businesses, not just us, but other organisations, aren't doing enough to escalate getting women into those leadership positions. And all too often the career path is linear, and therefore you're kind of waiting in line, and often you're waiting in line behind a man. So what we need to do is really keep momentum and encourage more women to progress in the professional world by giving them the tools to do that. So some of the things that we're starting to do is really accelerate some of our female talent. We're doing more to make sure that the playing field is leveled, because all too often it isn't. We've been working against decades of gender inequality. So you can't just suddenly click your fingers and have that be and have that disappear. So what we are trying to do is create more opportunities for women earlier in their career, perhaps guiding them towards the middle management positions and helping them kind of get higher up that ladder. Because, you know, inequity has been a real problem, and you do have to treat people differently in order to give them equal opportunity. And that's a really, really big difference that not enough businesses, I think, recognise. And we are working hard to do that. So it might sound all well and good, but different things need to happen to make sure these women are getting the same opportunity to progress their careers. And, you know, that means change. That means behavioural change. That means leadership change. That means career promotion change. You know, people need to be bold to start again and do things differently, because you only see difference and get better and bigger and stronger outcomes by doing things differently. You can't do it how you've always done it. So how have we tackled this so far? I think it's really important to reference that this starts right at the beginning of a recruitment process. You know, how you go to market and the language you use in an advert is critical. And what we know, there's been a lot of research that's saying women are put off applying to certain roles because of how it's described. And so you've got to remember that this inclusion is necessary throughout every single step of the hiring process. And whether it's women or other marginalised groups, you know, they are attuned to that. So do everything you can to expand the talent pool who's going to apply to start with. There are certain things that are fairly key. So talking about things like flexible working patterns, hybrid working, you know, that's not actually gender specific. You know, men want that too. And it's most definitely not about just being a parent. You know, lots of individuals want that. There is a lot of research though that shows it helps pull in women. So be specific about that, and then make sure that is followed through every step of the hiring process, so that what's talked about in the advert is evident then when people are called to interview, that they see diversity on the panel, that they see people who are like them, or there are role models who are doing a role how they might want to do it. So think about the language, think about then the environment that is created throughout the whole candidate experience. Make sure line managers have got really good training under their belt. So inclusive hiring training, not just unconscious bias training on its own, it's not enough. There needs to be more around their interview practices and their ability to take bias out the whole process of the interview. And then businesses need to be kind to themselves, that it's not going to happen overnight, but everything is a step in the right direction. And just make sure you then live and breathe the values when you hopefully successfully employ said woman. 3 key takeaways. Firstly, representation is everything. People look for what they can see first and foremost. So whether that's through an interview process or whether that's once they come on board, they need to know they've got role models and they can actually see somebody in the position they want to get to. So that is absolutely critical. Creating opportunities for women. Now, I think there's 2 parts to this actually. So yes, we talked about levelling the playing field, balancing out the inequity and treating people differently to do it. But there is a real role that other women play here. Women who've already got there, please, please, please do not pull the ladder up. play your part and accelerate representation and visibility of women at senior levels by, you may have had to do it the hard way, but don't make it hard on someone else. So yes, the business as a whole needs to create opportunities, but also this is about women pulling other women up through. And then think about how you recruit, because that does reflect how you work. Is that candidate experience a true one? And is it consistent throughout every step of the process? There is nothing worse than you doing a really fancy inclusive process, and then the reality is when the woman joins that they are treated as a second-rate citizen. This needs to follow through to the culture that individual is going to join. So sense check every element of your inclusivity, and that's from the start all the way through the assessment, and absolutely crucially, the business culture itself, that people actually want to join and stay.